Hello, my amazing learners, and welcome back to the Wisdom English podcast. My name is Sarah, and today we're going to talk about the one skill that separates struggling learners from confident, fluent speakers. It's the secret ingredient that makes everything easier: learning to think directly in English. Have you ever found yourself in a conversation translating every single word in your head before you dare to speak? It's slow, it's frustrating, and by the time you formed the perfect sentence, the moment has passed. But what if you could switch off that translation machine in your brain for good? Stay with me because today I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. Let's start with the big question. Why is thinking in English so incredibly important? The simple truth is, if you are always thinking in your native language first and then translating, you will likely never achieve true fluency. Think about it. It creates a significant delay. Your brain is forced to work twice as hard. First, it has to form a thought in your native language. Second, it has to search for the right English words and grammar to express that thought. This two-step process is what causes those long, awkward pauses in conversation, and sometimes the direct translation doesn't even make sense. Many languages have different structures and idioms. For example, in some languages, you might say something that translates word for word to, "I have cold." But in English, that sounds unnatural. The natural way to say it is, "I am cold." By thinking directly in English, you train your brain to form sentences the way a native speaker does, using natural-sounding structures from the very beginning. Let's also talk about confidence. When you start thinking in English, words come to you faster. You can respond more quickly and spontaneously in conversations. This eliminates those hesitant pauses where you're frantically searching for a translation in your mind. As you begin to respond more naturally and smoothly, your confidence will soar. You start to feel less like a student who is calculating the language, and more like a natural participant in the conversation. This skill also dramatically improves your listening comprehension. If your brain is already operating in English mode, it can process what you hear much faster. You'll find yourself keeping up with conversations more easily. You'll even start understanding movies or music more instantly, recognizing words and phrases without a conscious effort to translate everything. Finally, thinking in English even helps with your pronunciation. When you think the words directly, you start to hear the sounds in your head the way they should be spoken. You internalize the rhythm, the intonation, and the melody of the language, which naturally helps you speak more clearly and sound more like a native speaker. So, to summarize, learning to think in English is the key to unlocking your full potential. It helps you speak faster, it boosts your confidence, it improves your listening skills, and it even makes your pronunciation better. Now, I know you might be wondering, okay, Sarah, I understand why it's important, but how do I actually train my brain to do this? Don't worry. We are going to break it down into simple, powerful, step-by-step strategies. But before we get to the solutions, let's quickly identify the common mistakes that hold people back. Many learners don't even realize they're making these mistakes, but once you become aware of them, you can start to fix them and you'll notice a huge improvement in your fluency. The biggest mistake by far is relying too much on translation. If you always have your mental dictionary open, translating every word before you speak, your brain never gets the chance to get used to thinking in English directly. It's like trying to learn to ride a bicycle, but refusing to ever take off the training wheels. You need to trust your brain, let go of the crutch of translation, and allow it to form sentences naturally in English. Another common mistake is focusing too much on grammar while you are thinking. A lot of learners try to build a grammatically perfect sentence in their mind before they say a single word. They check every verb tense, every preposition, every article, but this habit of overanalyzing actually paralyzes you and slows you down immensely. Grammar is important, of course, but if you keep stopping to check every little rule, you'll never speak naturally. Native speakers don't actively think about grammar rules while they're talking. They just speak. And guess what? Even native speakers make small grammar mistakes sometimes. Communication is more important than perfection. The third major mistake is the fear of making mistakes. This is a big one. Some people are so afraid of saying something wrong, of sounding imperfect, that they stop themselves from thinking or speaking in English at all. They choose silence over the risk of imperfection. But please hear me when I say this. Making mistakes is how we learn. It's the only way. The more you practice thinking in English, even if it's messy and imperfect at first, the better you will get. Fluency comes with practice, not perfection. And finally, a mistake that blocks your progress is not surrounding yourself with enough English. If your daily life is filled only with your native language, your brain will naturally default to that language. If you only use English in a classroom for 1 hour a week, but the rest of your life, your phone, your music, your movies, is in your native tongue, your brain won't see a reason to switch to thinking in English naturally. That's why creating an immersive environment is so important. So, to quickly recap, the biggest mistakes are relying on translation, overthinking grammar, fearing mistakes, and not surrounding yourself with enough English. If you recognize yourself making any of these mistakes, don't worry. The good news is, we are now going to move on to the solutions. I will share some powerful step-by-step strategies to help you fix these habits and start thinking in English naturally. All right, now it's time for the most important part. How can you actually train your brain to think in English? I'm going to break it down into simple, powerful steps that anyone can follow, starting today. Step 1. Name things around you in English. This is my favorite starting point because it's so simple and you can do it right now. It's an easy habit to build. Just look around you, wherever you are, and start naming the objects you see in your head in English. For example, if you're in your room, you can think bed, window, lamp, phone, book, chair. The goal is to create a direct link in your brain between the physical object and its English name, completely bypassing your native language. To take this a step further, you can describe what's happening with the object. So instead of just thinking cup, you can think I am drinking coffee from my cup. Or instead of just book, think that book is on my desk. This simple exercise begins to connect your everyday life directly with the English language, making it more natural over time. Step 2. Talk to yourself in English. This might feel a little strange at first, but it is one of an incredibly effective ways to start thinking in English because it forces you to create original sentences. You can do this anywhere, anytime. When you're cooking, getting dressed, or walking outside, just describe what you're doing in simple English, as if you are the narrator of your own life. For example, you can say out loud, "Okay, now I'm chopping the onions. I'm going to put them in the pan. It's a sunny day today. I'm putting on my shoes to go for a walk." The great thing about this is there is absolutely no pressure. You are just talking to yourself. No one is listening, no one is judging you. It's a safe space for you to practice, make mistakes, and train your brain to use English naturally. Step 3. Use an English-to-English dictionary. This is a game changer. Many learners continue to use dictionaries that translate English words into their native language. While this can be helpful at the very beginning, it keeps you trapped in the habit of translating. I want you to switch to using an English-to-English dictionary. Here's why. When you look up a word, you are not just getting a translation. You are getting a definition written in English, which forces you to think in English to understand it. For example, if you don't know the word excited, instead of translating it, you would look it up in an English dictionary, and it would say something like feeling very happy and enthusiastic. This way, your brain connects the new English word excited to other English words like happy and enthusiastic, building a web of knowledge entirely within the English language. Step 4. Think in simple sentences first. Many learners try to think in long, complex sentences too soon, and this makes them feel stuck and overwhelmed. Instead, I want you to start with short, simple thoughts. For example, instead of trying to think the whole sentence, I should probably go to the grocery store after work because I need to buy some vegetables for the dinner I'm planning to cook tonight. Just start with the simplest part. I need vegetables. That's it. Just hold that simple thought in English. Once you get comfortable with simple thoughts, your sentences will naturally get longer and more complex over time. Start small and build from there. Step 5. Develop an English inner voice. This is a very powerful technique. Throughout your day, you have an inner voice, a constant stream of thoughts. I want you to start practicing switching that inner voice to English. For example, if you're planning your day, instead of thinking in your native language, try to have a little conversation in English in your head. You could think, okay, what should I do first today? Maybe I'll start with checking my emails. After that, I need to make a phone call. This is like turning your thoughts into a private English dialogue. It's one of the fastest ways to make thinking in English an automatic habit. You can even ask yourself questions in English like, how do I feel today? Or, what should I wear? Step 6. Surround yourself with English. Finally, the more you expose your brain to English, the more natural it becomes. You need to create that immersion bubble we talked about. This means actively choosing to consume media in English. Listen to English podcasts while you're driving or cleaning, watch English movies and TV shows, read books, news articles, or blogs in English. The more English you hear and see, the more data your brain has to work with, and the more it will start to think in English automatically without you even trying. So, let's quickly recap the 6 powerful steps to train your brain. Name things. Around you in English. Talk to yourself in English. Use an English-to-English dictionary. Think in simple sentences first. Develop an English inner voice, and surround yourself with English. These steps will help you break the habit of translating and start thinking in English naturally. And the best part is, you can start practicing all of these today. Now that we've talked about the strategies, let's take it one step further. How can you practice these every day and make them a permanent habit? Just knowing the techniques isn't enough. You need to practice consistently. First, I recommend that you start and end your day with English thoughts. The moment you wake up, in the morning before you even check your phone, try to describe your plans for the day in English in your mind. For example, think, today is Monday. I have a meeting at 10 a.m. I will have lunch with my friend. And at night, do the same. Review your day in English before you go to sleep. Think, what did I do today? Did I enjoy it? I had a productive meeting. This helps your brain switch into English mode at the beginning and end of each day. Second, set a no translation rule for at least 30 minutes a day. I love this one. For those 30 minutes, challenge yourself to only think in English. No translating allowed. It might be difficult at first and you might struggle, but just try. The more you practice this focused English-only time, the easier it will get. Next, try to talk to yourself in English out loud for a few minutes every day. As we mentioned, describe what you're doing. You can say, I'm making tea. It smells so good. I will drink it while I read a book. The key is to make speaking English a normal part of your daily routine, even if no one is around to listen. Another great way to practice is to use English while doing simple activities like cooking, driving, or exercising. Instead of letting your mind wander, consciously focus on thinking in English. If you're going for a walk, you can think, the weather is nice today. The sky is blue. I feel relaxed. And finally, keep a simple English journal. Every night, write down a few sentences about your day. What happened? How did you feel? What are your goals? This is a great way to practice expressing yourself and to track your progress. And don't worry about grammar. Just focus on getting your thoughts down in English. If you do these small exercises every day, starting and ending your day in English, having a no translation period, talking to yourself, using English during activities, and keeping a journal, thinking in English will become automatic over time. Of course, even with all these techniques, you will face challenges. It's normal to struggle, but the key is to overcome these challenges instead of giving up. One of the biggest struggles is that your brain will naturally want to think in your native language first. The solution here is patience. Be patient with yourself and practice small English thoughts first. Instead of full sentences, just start with words or phrases. Using an English-to-English dictionary will also help your brain stay in English mode. Another common challenge is feeling stuck because you don't know the right word. This can be very frustrating, but instead of stopping, I want you to try to describe the word using simple English. This is a very valuable skill called circumlocution. For example, if you forget the word refrigerator, you can think or say, the cold box in the kitchen where I keep my food. The goal is to keep thinking and speaking in English, even when you don't know every single word. And finally, a very tough challenge is when you feel like you're not making progress and you lose motivation. The truth is, progress is often slow, and you might not notice it day by day. The best solution is to track your progress. Keep that journal. Record your voice once a month. When you look back after a few weeks, you'll be amazed at the difference. The most important thing is to stay patient and keep going. Thinking in English is a skill, and like any skill, it takes time and consistent practice. So we've covered so many great strategies today. Thinking in English is truly a journey, but with the right mindset and daily practice, anyone can do it. Remember to start small, be consistent, and please, don't be afraid of making mistakes. The more you practice, the easier and more natural it will become. Now, to all of you listening, I have a challenge for you. What's one tip from today's episode that you are going to try first? Are you going to start naming objects around you? Are you going to talk to yourself while you make breakfast tomorrow? Choose one small action and commit to it. Let us know in the comments which technique you're going to try. And if you found this episode helpful, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Wisdom English podcast channel to watch our next videos. Keep practicing, keep thinking in English, and I will see you in the next episode. Until then, happy learning.